What is going on, Alpha Hunters? Hope everybody's having a very terrific Thursday. It's also NVDA trading day, I guess, or post earnings day. So we'll check that out after we go through all the normal stuff, because there will probably be plenty to talk about there. Nice little gap up here on the market today. Nice gap up. We're up about 1/3% there on the open, and we have kind of like steadily traded higher. I was kind of surprised here over the previous like day or two. Kind of surprised we weren't a little bit more bullish going into Nvidia's earnings, and then we saw a little bit of weakness coming out of it. But not I'm not going to be surprised like we continue higher either scenario. I was just kind of a little bit surprised, I guess. But it is what it is. Market does what it wants. Q's nice little gap up today. Is trading higher. Okay, Q's up about 1.2%. SPY up about 3/4. IWM nice little gap up. Pulled back, got negative very briefly there in the first 25 minutes or so, 30 minutes. Nice bounce. Currently up about 0.9% right now. Okay. All right. DIA nice bounce. Pulled back briefly, very briefly got negative there. Bounce back to the day's highs, currently up about 0.6%. RSP currently up a little bit over 0.5%. Nice gap up, pulled back. Got negative there for about 10 minutes or so. Bounced to the day's highs. Okay, so we saw quite a bit of pullback across most of the markets to start out, except for tech, it looks like. All right. Okay. Nice little lower wick there coming in on RSP. The RSP looks very good to continue higher here in the next few days, going into next week, especially following that very strong run it had after the first 3 trading days of August. Okay. DIA looking pretty solid as well. That looks very healthy. IWM looking pretty steady. Qs look like it's setting up a pretty good base. I was really kind of surprised how much we pulled back yesterday, how much we wound up pulling back. But looking pretty good. Probably continues higher tomorrow. SPY looking pretty good. So SPY maybe not getting all-time high-ish tomorrow. I mean, maybe it does. Maybe it does. We'll see. I mean, it's going to be really close. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday. So, yeah, we'll have to see. Have to see how that goes. Anyways, moving on. VIX dropping off a little bit. It's been elevated pretty much the whole week. NVIDIA's earnings looks like it's going to continue to drop off. Okay. DXY. Well, it has bounced off of that level that we had back in December, or roughly. We got a little bit below it. Now it's hitting into that 10 EMA. I mean, you could definitely see it kind of go either way, where you got this whole zone. It came down to that December low. It bounced. Maybe people are going to try and go bearish here and push it down. So right now, you're probably looking to say either longer term, medium term. You're like, okay, this is a pretty good spot to go bullish down here, just in this zone. Or if you're looking for more smaller, shorter term time horizon, you're like, okay, I saw the breakdown. Here's the retest. I want to see it quickly roll over. If it doesn't quickly roll over here like next day or two, yeah, I would not be. I would wait for a little bit more of a signal to say, hey, which way we can kind of go in there on the DXY. As far as gold, man, gold looks so good. Gold looks so good. Just nice little consolidation up here. Looks good, man. Yields. Nice move up on yields. Oh, yeah, we did get some data this morning. Let's take a look at that real quick. What did we get? Initial jobless claims came in at 231K. Forecast was 232K. Prior was 233K. So basically it was flat. It didn't really... I'd say it was basically flat, but I mean, that's kind of relative. It's basically flat compared to how it's been over the previous several weeks. We haven't seen a number kind of like that. I mean, that small in a variance in a while. Anyways, we got some PCE correction stuff, but we'll get PCE tomorrow morning. Other than that, not too much. We'll get PCE data tomorrow morning. Okay, 10-2 inversion still climbing. It's okay. We uninvert. If we happens tomorrow, we might really be looking at uh, what we need to be possibly getting ready for. How long after yield curves uninvert does it take for the market to see some real bearishness, that kind of stuff. Anyways, uh, just be aware that it is rapidly approaching on the uninversion, though. HYG, high yield corporate bonds, holding steady for now. Where we at here? Where we at here? So we're kind of at some highs that we put in late, back in August of 22 highs, kind of like May 22 highs. So that's kind of where we're at right now. All right, LQD continue to pull back a little bit. Yields are going higher. LQD, TLT both down. So they both, or the LQD did get up into this range that it had kind of topped out at for much of the past year and a half. Not surprised that there's a little bit of weakness there. TLT kind of at the top ends of where it's kind of put in over the past, really past year. I mean, we broke down this level last July, August timeframe. So we kind of came back up and hit it in December. It is not looking good here, relatively shorter term, as we got this huge run up. We got the drop off, the retest. We slowly climbed higher, but it looks like we're rolling over. For now, it looks like that. If we break this 20 moving average, 20 EMA coming up, which is kind of where we're bouncing today, that will look. I'm not gonna say not gonna look super good. All right, take a look at sector rotation on the day. Real estate underperforming, staples, utilities underperforming, materials, healthcare, financials underperforming. Outperformers: communications, energy, tech, industrials, and discretionaries. Intraday outperformers, yeah, kind of like what we were talking about earlier when we were looking at the 5 different markets. A lot of the different markets had pullbacks. Tech was bought on the open, so you can see tech definitely getting bought throughout the day, especially on the open. Everything else intraday kind of underperforming: industrials, communications, financials, healthcare, utilities, energy, staples, discretionaries, materials. Real estate really underperforming here over the past 30 minutes or so. So, in talking about NVDA, what is this? Key facts today: NVIDIA Corporation reported. Okay, I've never seen this thing pop up. Key facts today. All right. So NVIDIA did report yesterday. This is kind of what happened yesterday after the bell, kind of the market price action. We had initially, when we first got the numbers, it looks like, or maybe just before, we had an initial pop and then just got smashed down. Now, what was really kind of interesting is I did look at this after hours yesterday, last night, and we were sitting right on top of this this line here, the support and resistance level, and it's one that I don't know, I just kind of had there. No real reason or rhyme why I was there, other than the fact that it was kind of like a previous high that we kind of put in back over here. But it was just kind of interesting. That was like right where we hit off of in the after hours yesterday. So yeah, it was kind of interesting. Other than that, they did really good. They're currently down 2.5% today. Obviously, you can see where we closed, where we are. So they were down 2.5% today, which is not a big deal, right? I mean, they've easily traded that shoot over the past month or two, like easily 2.5% sometimes. So it's not really a big deal. I think the implied volatility we talked about yesterday was like 10%. So it was kind of like a good time to probably be selling some options just because of all the implied volatility that was kind of out there. Anyways, they didn't do horrible. Let's see, there's probably a good. The biggest challenge for NVIDIA stock in one chart. Get us to scroll down. So NVIDIA's revenue growth slows from blistering pace. NVIDIA year-over-year revenue growth this quarter, but compared to the previous year. Okay, yeah, this makes sense. Year-over-year revenue growth per quarter. So So basically comparing like Q2 2025 to Q2 of 2024, which this is normal. Just so you know, when a company goes through like a huge growth cycle, like the big part of the growth cycle happens at once. So NVIDIA had theirs. It's very difficult to keep growing at this level because once you become so dominant, one, your supply chain, you can't keep up. So this is not like abnormal. I mean, you always expect the growth to kind of drop off if you go through a massive growth cycle. The other thing is, it's not like we are getting other semiconductors to come in and take growth away from NVIDIA. That is not what's happening. So it's one that it's still NVIDIA's world, essentially. Yeah, I mean, look at that revenue just absolutely climbing. It's very man, it's so difficult to say that, hey, NVIDIA's growth is slowing. You want to go invest in these other areas. It's not, their growth is not slowing because they're seeing competition. Their growth is slowing because you can't just continue to grow it. Like, where is their income statement? Here we go. Yeah, 101%, 205%, 266%. Like, you can't just continue to grow at that pace. Eventually, just it's the laws, kind of just the laws of physics, right? I mean, your supply chain just eventually can't keep up at that kind of growth pace. I'm not saying that they're not going to keep growing; they're just not going to grow at that pace. So we are seeing a little bit of a drop off in the growth of AI hardware and infrastructure build out. But the other thing is they're still growing. So everybody's still buying chips at a faster pace than they were last quarter, right? Like quarter over quarter, they're still growing. So, anyways, NVIDIA probably just fine. They had a great quarter. They beat estimates on revenue and earnings. So there you go. There was nothing bad about it. Really wasn't.